Cecil Gaines was born in Macon County, Georgia. He was a sharecropper's son. His father was killed when he was a little child by the owner of the plantation that they worked on. His mother, because of the incident and being raped repeatedly by the man who ran the plantation, lost her mental faculties. Ultimately, Cecil, as a child, was brought into the house by the female head of the house, to become a servant, and that's where he started to get his first training to be a butler and to be in service work. And then he left there and went on to get another job, and ultimately, from that work that he did there, he was asked to move into the White House, and he became a butler for 8 presidents in the White House. I think he looks at the service industry as almost a philosophical way, one of creating magical moments for individuals to be able to live his life in this kind of service allowed him to embrace, I guess, the needs of others in some ways and himself. His son becomes, I think, not a revolutionary, but a civil rights activist. I think because of things that he's seen in his father, because his father is a man of respect in his community, someone who encourages him to learn. Because Cecil never learned how to read or write when he was a child. He taught himself. So the fact that he has a son that goes off to college is such a big deal. And that relationship carries with it a lot of friction, more because Cecil loves his son so deeply and doesn't want any harm to happen to his son, that he tries to force him in the only ways that he knows how, which is by restricting his love, by demanding that he stop his behavior. And that creates a schism between the two of them. At that time, to have a position where you're working in the White House was a really big deal, economically speaking, socially speaking. But then there's also those who look at people in the service industry as Uncle Toms, or people who are servants. As he says, you can serve without being servile. And I think there's a very big difference between the two things. There was a lot of really magical moments. I think there was some very powerful ones. I think there's one scene where she did this. She played drunk, where our son called, that I think was brilliant work on her part, and really helped me be able to know how to play the scene, because I couldn't quite figure out the scene. I was trying to make it not a perfunctory scene. I don't really like perfunctory scenes. You know what I mean? I like something to be discovered. And I discovered how I caretake for her in that scene. I think he understands acting very well and the storytelling very well, and without, although he touched on the sentimentality of things, which I think was good. I know for him that was always a big thing. It's he's always afraid of being too gentle or sentimental, but I think it was a great balance that was found as we searched for the different things, and then I think as he sees more of the breadth of my emotional scope, you know what I mean, of where I can go to, then he's looking for those things, of that extra moment of well, we've done this, maybe you haven't done this beat, this type of emotional tone, let's go ahead and live in that, or and so I think there was interdependency upon each other in that respect to really find the truth of the character, and ultimately, I think because he's the central figure, the truth of the story.